Howdy, homies. Time to take a look at TopRamen versus Art of Turtle. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen an Art of Turtle match, so let's check him out on Radium, a map by BiddyBee. First up, we got TopRamen on the top right. He seems to be, is this gonna be the silver color again? It's the silver Terran. And in the bottom left, we have what appears to be Japanese Violet in Art of Turtle. He is going to be cross positions here. This is a two-spawn map, so these are the only positions. Very legendary homies who have been around long enough to remember the name Axiom as a map will know that Radium is a map that is based on Axiom. It's kind of the successor or a variant of Axiom. Was always a pretty standard, fair map. You could get a lot of value out of playing games on Axiom. So seeing it survive into the current era is certainly something that warms the cockles of my heart. I think it's fair to say. Now, it looks like Art of Turtle will be going for that fast Larvosk. I believe he has been one of those guys who enjoys going for Larvosks early before going into anything else. I actually saw Steven switching to Zerg potentially as he was streaming Cosmonarchy lately. If you guys stream Cosmonarchy the way Art of Turtle does, the way Steven does, the way TopRamen does, then you have my undying gratitude. And feel free to let me know what your stream is and when you're live, and I'll tweet it out. Cosmonarchy's Twitter account has I don't know, like 30 followers or something. So that's pretty big. But I suppose since I'm talking about it, maybe it'll get more followers. I do have it linked in the description. Wink. Also linked in there is the coffee page. All right, enough shilling. So we do have the pool coming as a follow-up to AOT. So I wasn't sure if he was going to go double Larvosk before a Tech Node, or if he was going to go for pool. Pool is a little bit more his style. I mean, Hit 'em Up himself has told AOT to his face that he is Peruvian style. Which, if you don't know, and usually involves lagging the game quite a bit. Thanks to Crown Link, we don't really have that problem. But it also would involve, at least in theory, in principle, a lot of aggression when you least expect it, when you're not predicting it. And so that can make the games be very haphazard. Ramen going for 2 stockades. He's actually almost pseudo-walling. This is a tight position here. You can't put Zethra-cores in between these spots, I don't believe. So being able to just kind of know that the Zerg are going to come either around or maybe between the cliff and the stockade, but I'm not entirely sure Zethra-cores can make it over there. That's our Zergling equivalent, by the way. 4 of them are being made. You can see the Ovoleth scooping up that Kagrant and bringing it over to the natural. So this looks to be AOT's idea of an outpost. Not really going to be super aggro, at least in principle, but he does have 8 Zethra-cores. So what is he going to do with that? That's going to turn into a Circuith as the Zeths pour on out. And it looks like maybe we're going to see an Ovoleth move over. I believe AOT and Ramen did play a number of matches. This is from when TopRamen was streaming for TopRamen Tuesdays. Very cool. And love to see that Ramen was overwhelmed there by the Zethra-cores. I know that, you know, Ramen's going to be like, what the hell, man? Why you love to see my worker scout get killed? But I think as players get a little bit more serious, they're going to get better at sort of stutter stepping with melee units and killing worker scouts. It's easier to catch them in Cosmonarchy, but you don't see people doing them as much. And so to see them being more on top of that micro is very, very cool. With the Ovoleth here, he's going to pick up 6 out of 8 of his Zethra-cores and elevator them into the base. Doesn't look like he's going to be hanging back. The other 2 are already retreating to maybe look for scouting positions or something. A Zethra-core run-by isn't the most scary option here, but it should get at least 1 or 2 Mason kills, and it will scout the star pad, which means that AOT will be aware of the fact that we are going to see some Trojans. Very, very cool stuff. 2 Masons, 3 Masons going down already. Very, very good. Unless, is that a double stack corpse? Maybe there's only 2 workers have died. I thought I heard 2 Mason deaths earlier, but now they're going to be routed by the Bio Harakans, setting them alight, setting them ablaze. And it looks to me like TopRamen is actually not too far behind the Zerg, but when the Zerg has more workers than you, that's a pretty big deal. I don't know where all those Droleths went. I guess they must have been on a rally or something. Now we have a pretty high number. Obviously, he immediately puts down a bunch of anti-drop defense, and it looks like, I don't know if this is going to be another Larvosk or if this is going to be like a Circuith or something, but we'll have to catch that as it goes. A bunch of Quasilisks have been made. Still no Hatrask, interestingly, at the low ground. He wants to maybe minimize how much value TopRamen can have with his bio drops. I'm going to go ahead and put a Watchdog down just in case of a follow-up drop in that position. He kind of like surmises that that's exactly what's happening. And there is a bio drop inbound to the main base. We have a Circuith on either side, but they are not going to be able to help each other out. If you look at their weapon range, there is an area right about here where you can, you know, not really be under threat by the Circuith. So we're going to see maybe Ramen will drop like smack in the middle or behind the minerals or something. Yeah, that is also a Circuith covering the Larvosks as well. This feels like an adaptation from AOT, like he wants to protect his Circuiths or his Larvosks, but it's not actually going to be good enough to stop one of them from going down. The other one could be a viable target. Looks like that's exactly what Ramen wants to go for, but right now he's focused a lot on the killing of the circuit. That is not going to happen, though, and both Larvosks are sniped with only 2 Mavericks and 1 Harakan to spare. But that bio is so much cheaper than 125 Vespene. And look at this, dropping to try to kill the Hatcheros there in the natural. We are going to see Art of Turtle defend that. His quasi count should be enough to deal with this. Actually, Stimmed Mavericks can deal with that pretty nicely. And by the way, of course, there's not so many units over here, and the Harakan is not going to be able to defend, but just a few quasis over there can do a good amount of damage. Now you can see TopRamen just trying to piece him up, just trying to dance back and forth. He even evacuates those 2 Mavericks, and now he's going to descend upon them, killing a couple of quasis in the mineral line. Only 1 Droleth going down. That's going to be a second one focused fired, and that Trojan will not escape. So there you go, finally routed. And meanwhile, of course, Ramen has been building up more. He's getting another Trojan full of units. He's got another Ministry coming about halfway complete for his next round. And he's going to see if he can maybe pick this Larvosk with Stimmed Mavericks, but I'm looking at it and thinking this might be a little bit dicey to continue throwing away units for that. But he might still be able to get it. Honestly, I would just pick those workers, send those workers up, man. You're going to lose the Larvosk. Oh, that is brutal. Turns out that maybe his SimCity needs a bit more consideration. These 2 Zethicors idly sort of hanging out and watching, biding time. This Acheros going to be a target. There's not so many Mavericks. Yeah, they're going to go try to fix the Droleth instead. By fixing it, they mean killing it. The only good Zerg, a dead one. And yeah, once again, Art of Turtle kind of playing second fiddle here, as that Hatcheros is going to get sniped indeed. Was not respecting the potential value of the move there. Now we've got those 2 Mavericks once again stimming forward. They are going to see if they can get some more value by killing yet another Larvosk. Unfortunately, Ramen was not really on the ball with his micro. And so AOT has really been heavily routed here. His Zorkish Shroud is finished. He doesn't have a crazy amount of minerals in the bank, but he does have a lot of gas. So he could go Gorgs, he could go Lakes. Lakes would be a bit more believable. 1 Trojan still alive. It is going to swoop back in with only 1 Maverick to its name. Not really going to be able to accomplish too much, but it will scout the Zorkas, right? So there is that. That's all I had. Just the 1 Maverick. Very funny. A Wraith now going to come in and maybe abuse the fact that there's no dedicated anti-air defense. Always something that you can pivot back into. Yeah, AOT has really been pieced up quite a bit, I would say. Been put under the pump by the non-stop air harassment. But this Wraith will not accomplish too much there. Avaleth now moving to the front lines. Could also Elevator. Workers starting to preemptively saturate the natural as it's going to be replaced. And we do have 3 Lakizilisks about to hatch with 3 Gorgs already taking flight. So this is definitely looking like a powerful push that I'm not sure. Remember, this is the weakness of drop styles. You don't have a big army as the follow-up, right? We've got a couple of bio units. We do have 2 anchors. This can easily be opened up into, and we don't have an Anseal for detection. So if AOT waits for his Lakes, or maybe they come in after a really big storming of the gates, that could definitely change things up. Now, he does have 1 Madrigal, fearing the air transition. But Gorgorkors are pretty hardy folk. You know, they can definitely take care of business here. 1 Quaz has been preemptively loaded into the Avaleth. I suppose that is a mistake. But now the Gorgs are going to go ahead and descend and try to munch on these Mavericks. Remember, there's more where that came from in the anchor, but 1 anchor has already been split up. The Quasis are going to be joined by reinforcing Zethicors, the movement speed allowing them to catch up with the rest of the army and flood forward. The Maverick, the Phalanx, they're all down. The Madrigal going down as well. Another one deployed to the ramp. This could hold the Zethicors at bay a little bit, but to me, this looks very, very flimsy. Ramen is going to have to basically decommission this ministry, lift it off for the time being. His production is being munched on, and the Lakes are going to march up the ramp. Harakans trying their best to hold the Zethicors at bay. A single Vulture out right now. We got Goliaths in the queue, 1 Madrigal, but the stockades are already torn down, and Ramen has to concede. GG, not able to follow back. And you know, I will point out, there wasn't a lot of Droleth here for AOT behind this. It was a very powerful move for him to go, but had Ramen been able to hold, he would have been in a position to take us to a longer game and maybe get a little bit deeper into things. So I will say that was a very exciting kind of 1-2 punch match. I know that our cast today has been a little bit on the shorter side, but I hope that you enjoyed seeing Art of Turtle. Listen, he's just a North American stalwart. He's been around for so long. Give him some props for getting some success in this game, fighting back against the relentless drops, the micro going back and forth. I think it's pretty epic. So now that I've bloviated enough, and sung Art of Turtle's praises enough to get this video to at least 10 minutes long. You guys can accuse me of farming monetization, even though actually I don't have monetization on my channel. GG's, and we will be back tomorrow for another Cosmonarchy cast. Hope to see you there.